While the game of basketball moves fast, Montevallo's Derek Moore knows he doesn't always have to. In his early days, adversity gave Derek space to reflect, from his high school injury to his moments of solitude at Delta State. That time alone helped him grow as a leader, build confidence, and produce a 51-point performance that marked a turning point in his career. Coming up, we sit down with Derek to discuss mindset, growth, and seeing the game beyond the score. This is Inside the GSC. Today on Inside the GSC, we're joined by Derek Moore, a senior guard for the University of Montevallo's men's basketball team. And Derek has competed in a few Gulf South Conference schools, as his story includes early adversity, growth through change, and learning how to see the game and life with clarity. Derek, thank you for taking some time to join us on the show. We appreciate having you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all inviting me.
For sure. When you think back on everything you've experienced so far, what's one moment that reshaped the way you approach basketball?
I mean, just immediately my mind goes to my junior year of high school when I broke my leg. That was kind of my sophomore going into my junior year was kind of when I was learning what type of player I was going to be, how I was going to function. And then that was also the year of COVID. So that really took a toll on the season. So my first 3 games I had to sit because of the COVID. And I played 1 game, and then in warm-ups of my second game, my junior year, I broke my leg, was out for the season. So kind of all that hype building up into, okay, this is kind of the direction we're going to go. We're going to try and make a career out of basketball. And then all of that kind of just plummeted. So then you kind of see it through a different lens when you're sitting and having to watch, especially after all the hype was built up around it. So that kind of just made me not take another day for granted. So even now, looking back on how I felt in those early days, I always have something to kind of shape my vision. It could always be worse. I could always be sitting on the sideline watching.
Was there a point where basketball became less about talent and more about survival, discipline, or structure when you went through that experience?
Hmm. The talent hasn't always been there. Trust me, I was a brutal basketball player to watch there for a while. So it hasn't always been a talent factor. It's always been truly, I'd say, it's just wanting to make my family proud. And I saw an outlet to do that through basketball. Then as that kind of as that kind of showed itself to be the route that I was going to take, then it was like, okay, I can pay for my school. I can do this just by playing basketball. So that kind of is what sprung me to take the route of playing basketball. And then the discipline aspect of it, that just kind of all filtered through.
Kind of expanding back on your high school years outside of the leg injury you experienced during your junior year, how has life felt for you just playing high school basketball before the college experience, before the transfers, before the scholarship experience and playing at a higher level?
Oh, I wouldn't trade my senior year of high school for the world. My dad was my principal. I was coached by the same coach all 4 years of high school. And one of my best friends came with me from the school I came from to the school I spent my senior year at, Springville High School. And that was probably the most fun year of basketball, other than last year and this year. I have to say Montevallo is the best experience of basketball I've ever had. But my senior year of high school, I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. I enjoyed it. Coach Jeremy Mott, he's a mentor in my life. I still reach out to him. He actually came to our game against Lee the other day and got to watch that. And I got to talk with him after. And, it's just great to have that connection with him. And he can kind of mentor and guide me even in these later years of basketball. So, I mean, high school basketball was truly one of the best experiences of my life. It was so fun.
Did you get any flack from your classmates in high school growing up because your dad was the principal, or they felt like you had some certain kind of advantages here and there? Or did the coach think about, hey, Derek's acting up, but then all of a sudden out of the blue, oh, you're starting because your dad's the principal?
It was kind of like you could see it in their eyes, kind of, but there was never like your dad's the principal, so you're gonna get away with this. My dad he's the hardest on me, but it's all out of love. And so I saw it in high school. I didn't recognize it at the time. I was like, why is my dad pushing me so much? What's going on? But now I wouldn't trade a moment of my dad being hard on me, telling me to put some work in, like kind of shifting or shaping the type of player I am at that time, I wouldn't trade that for the world. But as for my classmates, they kind of looked at it through like, I mean, maybe he's getting this special treatment because his dad's the principal, but I mean, there's a talent aspect there, so like they couldn't deny the talent of it.
So we had a chance to look over the article that was done, Vision, where the storyline of life through the rim. That phrase, though, life through the rim, what does that phrase mean to you after everything you've been through and the adversity that you've had to face early on?
I mean, it just kind of shows how basketball has truly shaped my life. Like basketball has brought me to the highest heights, to the lowest lows. Like I've learned so much just by being a part of the game. So dealing with adversity, dealing with like the struggles of basketball, the hills and the valleys of it, that really shaped me into the human I am today, which the highs are high and the lows are low in basketball. Like, and in there's really no middle ground. If you find some middle ground, then staying stagnant, like that's never what you want to do in basketball. You always want to push to be higher, but adversity will come and that's part of it. And I feel like the best life lessons that I've learned have been on the basketball court.
How would you say your perspective on success changes since your early years?
I would say high school and my freshman and sophomore year of college, I only based it on wins and losses. If we're winning, I'm having a great time. Life is great. If we're losing, I'm down on myself. I'm down on my teammates. I can't really, like, I couldn't separate the two. I couldn't have a good life and lose. Like, basketball was my life. Going into my junior year, it became less about wins and losses and more about, am I having fun? Am I inspiring the people around me? Am I being the best leader I can be? Am I being the best person I can be? So once I kind of flipped that switch into it's not all about wins and losses, the funny thing is I started winning a lot more in my basketball career. And so like stop counting the wins and losses and to just seeing success more through a personal lens and not just a record on a sheet of paper. It's kind of like that's kind of my perspective on it.
And it seems like when we're talking about perspectives, your adversities, and just getting back into the your biggest adversity moment when you broke your leg, it seemed like also too your perspective on leadership changed as well. You know, it was something I think to quote the article from Vision, it said it was at that moment when I realized I started taking things for granted and that everything happens for a reason. God puts things in your path for a reason. And if an injury were to accrue or anything else going on in life, look at it as a lesson and not a loss and use it to develop in other ways of life that you never thought you'd enjoy before. One of the things we also noticed too, Derek, was your style of leadership. Mostly for guys, it's about just leadership that tailors only towards in the game. But for you, it seemed like it was more than just the game. It felt like there was more of a leadership perspective of your teammates, your brothers on the court, off the court. You know, how did that mentality come to fruition? Because the maturity mindset of trying to show leadership to older guys, that's an uncanny ability for a high school student at that time. But just expand a little bit more on just your perspective and vision and how that has changed for you since you had that injury to you your junior year.
Kind of my outlook on leadership kind of is shaped on really how my parents raised me, how my dad runs his school since he is a principal. It's at the end of the day, you want to lead these people in a way to where they're going to be the best version of themselves to benefit you, but then they also have a life past that. So when I take that into my account, it's yes, I'm going to share the court with these guys. I'm going to win and lose with these guys. But when we take the shoes off and we leave in the locker room, what are we going to go do? Are we all going to go our separate ways or are we all going to stick together and it'd be a real brotherhood? And like, if I'm the leader in any aspect, I want it to be a family environment, which is why I like I'm hard on those guys on the court. We really get after it. But as soon as practice is over, as soon as pickup is over, whatever we're doing that day, we're all going to eat. We're all hanging out with each other, and that's just an environment I know I thrive in, and I see like the young guys thriving in that type of environment. So as I lead like this team in that way, I can kind of see everybody kind of gelling together, and it kind of translates onto the court, just the culture that we have here. And it's just something that I hope stays at Montevallo, when I transition out.
As we kind of look towards your college days now, you know, from your time from Springville, now heading into the first portion or the first school for the GSC, Delta State, just take us through that experience for you, how you found out about Delta State, what led you to want to go to Cleveland, Mississippi, of all places, and just kind of just from a basketball royalty standpoint, just take us through that story and how that all came about.
So my brother is 4 years older than me. He went to Delta State, played left tackle there. Was a really, really good football player up there. So I was always in Cleveland, Mississippi. Like that's what I knew as a college town. I was like, Delta State's a college. Delta State is what college is like. So naturally, I went to their elite camps. I reached out to their assistant coaches just because, going to school with my older brother like that, that's the dream. So Coach Redmond, I was blessed enough to have an opportunity to play at Delta State. And uh, I mean, those 2 years, I learned a lot more in those 2 years than I have my whole life, it seems like that. I feel like those 2 years at Delta State really shaped me into the man I am now. And I truly wouldn't trade that experience for the world, especially getting to go to school with my brother. And Malik Cartwright was there at the time. He's one of my really good mentors. He texts me after every game and reaches out, helps me get better every day. And I still have bonds there and relationships there that I'll take to the grave with me. I love those guys up there. And Delta State was a fun experience. I will say I enjoyed it up there, but there was a time where I knew I needed to transition out.
As you were learning lessons from your time at Delta State, name some profound moments that you had in your 2 years there. Obviously, when you have some great moments and times, there will always be stories or just moments and memories that just stick out with you. But for you, what were those moments at Delta State?
So the culture at Delta State and the culture at Montevallo is it's really night and day. At Delta State, it's really more basketball centered. There's nothing really off the court. I mean, you hang out with your one or two guys, but there's nothing truly off the court. So most of my memories there would be basketball related. I remember when West Georgia was in the GSC my sophomore year. West Georgia came down to Delta State, and we just played a complete game of basketball. It was a clinic actually. It was one of the best basketball games I've seen by Malik Cartwright, and just like getting to watch that. At the time I had dislocated my finger, I had surgery, I couldn't play. So being sidelined and being back in that experience I was in high school of having to watch and not being able to contribute, it kind of took me back and made me put everything back into perspective. But now I'm watching it at a college level instead of a high school level. So it's like these guys are skilled, athletic. So I'm watching this and it's kind of shaping my perspective of, okay, this is what college basketball is about. Like it's time for me to take the next step. So that would be one moment. And I'd say another moment was I'm a local guy, so there's that tie to UAH. UAH came to Cleveland, Mississippi my sophomore year, and that team was special. I remember they had some special players on that team, and they came down to Cleveland, Mississippi, and we played another great game of basketball, complete game of basketball, and I actually started that game and played decent. So being able to play pretty good against a local team, those are the memories that stick with you, and especially the basketball part of it.
For sure. Now, Derek, as we look at that transition from Delta State to Montevallo, tell us the story about how that first came into fruition and just, what drew you ultimately to make that switch over to Montevallo from Delta State.
So after my sophomore year, it was kind of I really wanted to be closer to home. I had a lot going on at the time mentally and spiritually. I was kind of finding myself who I was, and God just kind of placed it on my heart to, it's time for you to get a little bit closer to home. Thankfully, me and Coach Kamara had a bond before that. He recruited me a little bit out of high school. I reached out to Coach, and then I had a couple other schools at the time that were looking at me and stuff like that. But deep down, I knew Montevallo was home from the second they reached out. Uh, I was on my way to my visit with my mom and dad in the car, and I was promised. I was like, I'm going here. I mean, this visit, I already had it made up in my mind how the visit was going to go, how the meeting in coach's office was going to go, because I've been through it before. And so I'm like, when coach asked me the question, I'm going to commit here. I'm going to commit here. And then, the visit part of it, this is actually crazy. I live with Reese Gerner, Tyson Sexton, and Brandon Fusel. They're my roommates now, and they were actually the three guys that walked me around on my visit. And I've known Reese since high school. He's one of my really good friends. And from that moment when they all greeted me and like said what's up and walked me around campus, I knew this is where home was. And there was no doubt in my mind that I was gonna have the greatest experience of my life here.
Yeah, because you were mentioning earlier with Delta State, the culture was primarily about basketball, but it didn't seem like you had that style of culture, that campus culture, compared to what you experienced at Montevallo. So, you know, just name us maybe a story or two that really stands out to you from a campus culture setup at Montevallo. So, in other words, life outside of basketball, but just some of the campus memories that you've had so far and just some things that have stood out to you.
So I'm a guy, I'll walk around with these headphones on all day. Like I'll listen to music all day. If there's limited interaction, I'm fine with that. My junior year, once the school year kind of got rolling, I couldn't wear my headphones because everybody's, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Everybody's kind of it's one big family here, especially the athletes. Everybody checks on each other. Everybody makes sure everybody's doing okay. Everybody supports each other at their events. So just having that experience my first 2 years where it's like, all right, I'm about to walk to class. Let me just put my headphones on and go. As soon as class is over, put the headphones back on, just go back to my room. There's not too much interaction. To where my junior year, I remember the first day I'm walking to class, I put my headphones on and I immediately have to take them off because my roommate's like, oh, I'm going to class too. Like, let's just walk together. So we walk together and everybody's talking to me. So there's no time to like be within yourself unless you're in your room because everybody wants to make sure you're okay. Like everybody wants to build the culture here and like have a great time here. It's one big family. That's the only way I can truly describe it.
And as we're kind of shifting gears back towards basketball a little bit more, you talk about how the culture has just been, just welcoming, and you have students that are checking in on you. From a basketball standpoint, you come in junior year, you're playing now your senior year, you come off one of the greatest games ever, and we'll get a little bit more into that 51-point game in a little bit. But how would you say your role has evolved on the court and maybe even as a student, since arriving at Montevallo?
I mean, I knew me and coach had a lot of talks before even the first preseason day, my junior year. I didn't see it, but coach saw it. He said, I see the leadership aspect you could bring. And I couldn't see that because I was a new guy. I'm trying to learn as much as I can from the guys who have been here. But then they're asking me questions and looking up to me because they see what coach saw. So now I'm kind of sprung into a leadership role that I didn't think I was prepared for, but everybody saw it in me. And so just having to learn guys' personalities really fast and like what motivates different guys and just having to actually be a leader and bring it every day to motivate guys and be the same guy every day. That kind of shaped me as a man because it made me grow up really fast in a situation where I was at Delta State, where I just have to put the shoes on, get through a practice, and then I'm done for the day. Like these guys after practice are, what do you want to do? Like you want to watch some film, you want to get a workout in, and then it's like they're looking up to me. And this isn't the situation I've been in before, but everybody sees it in me, so I know I'm capable of it. And just having that kind of shift in my role as an athlete and as a player just kind of made me grow up fast, but I love it because I'm getting to learn from these guys as they learn from me.
Absolutely. And speaking of growth, Derek, that's actually a great segue into the next few questions I have for you. How would you describe your game now compared to your early days from Springville and Delta State?
Oh, there was actually an article written my senior year, and they called me an old school big, and I hated that. I just hated that because like I was like, what are they talking about? I can step out, I can hit a three, I can play face up to the basket. I'm not just a back to the basket big. So that kind of inspired me to like. I remember my dad telling me, okay, like that's what they see you as. So now you have to take the next step in your game and prove to everybody else what you know about yourself. So that kind of escalated the work. And then I could kind of see I got slimmer from my senior year of high school into my freshman year of college. And I had to get a little bit stronger. There was a couple of welcome to college moments to where I realized I need to get in the weight room a little bit. And just not being able to bully everybody from my senior year of high school into my freshman year kind of made me evolve my game to be kind of quicker on my feet, not just bully ball in the post the whole time. It kind of made me expand my game, engaging the 3-point line, facing up on defenders, and then seeing what it took to score at this level because the GSC, there's not a night off. Everybody you're playing against is gonna bring their A game. It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a war every game you play. So now, having gone through that for 3.5 years now, I see the work that it takes, and now I just have to keep building and continuing to get better.
With that said, what would you say in today's game that you take the most pride in when you step out on the floor? So in other words, when you step out on a game today, what would be the strongest aspect that you take the most pride in, or something that you look forward to the most about yourself when stepping out onto the floor?
It kind of goes back to one of Coach Kamara's like philosophies for us. Like you can't let the other team want it more than you. So I kind of bring that like I'm not gonna let anybody on this court want to win more than 23. Like 23 is gonna be out there and he's gonna want to win more than everybody else on that court. So every 50-50 ball turns into a 90-10 ball. Like that's I'm gonna get the ball. And every rebound I look at it as a pass to me. And every shot I shoot to kill, I shoot to make it. Like there can't be 10 guys or there can't be nine other guys on the floor that want it better than I do. Especially with this being my last year, I can't take anything for granted now because it's getting the short rolls.
With this being your last year as well, and just as we're talking a little bit more about the leadership aspect, obviously for student athletes, a lot goes through your mind when it comes to gameplay, leadership standpoint, and of course, it goes without saying when you're also balancing classes. But Derek, how do you stay present during tough stretches? Especially given everything you've already navigated and just still trying to maintain not just being a leader, but also just a better student athlete and a good role model example at Montevallo.
It's tough because it kind of feels like it's nonstop, but I feel like God placed me here. God put me here and gave me this busy schedule for a reason. It's because I'm supposed to be here. Like everything God has put in my path now, it's for me. Like I can't complain about it because this is what I asked for. I asked to have a leadership role on a great basketball team surrounded by great guys. So like just I try to be where my feet are planted. If I'm in class, just around other student athletes. If I'm walking around campus, it's like saying I'm not gonna have my headphones on. Like I'm gonna be in the atmosphere that God has put me in.
For sure. Now, Derek, this was a question that just came to mind, but we haven't actually talked to other student athletes about this. But at times, there's a certain pride or there's a certain story background when they choose a certain number when it comes to the sport that they play. And for you, it was 23. So I got to ask, where does the number 23 come from your playing days and just how you've come about choosing that number for basketball?
So I wore one my senior year of high school. I wore one, and that just, I mean, a big guy wearing number one, that just didn't really look right. I didn't like how the pictures looked at the time. So then I never told my dad this. I truly was gonna try to wear 52 because my dad played at Faulkner University. He wore number 52 there. But then I was like, that's a rough number to wear. 52 is rough. So then I just kind of sat down and thought about it. Like, I mean, I want my number to actually mean something because this is how people are gonna like see who I am. Like, oh, that's number 23 on the basketball team if they don't know me. So kind of sat down and I was remembering like I just remember all the blessings that have been bestowed upon me. Like at the time, Delta State was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I didn't think I was gonna play college basketball. I was kind of getting nervous that, I wasn't good enough to play in college. But then I remember a verse in Psalms 23 that his rod and staff comforts me. So there's no need for me to have fear because I'm comforted by our Lord. Psalms 23, that's kind of been imprinted on my heart since my senior year of high school. So now everywhere I go, I'm wearing my number 23 chain. Number 23 is like that's who I am, and it all goes back to Psalms 23.
That's awesome, Derek. I don't think I've ever heard in my entire life a jersey number being picked off of based off a Bible chapter. I mean, that's truly remarkable. I mean, we've had some other guests on the show that, they've shared their faith and they've also, had background stories. But I think this is a first, at least from a personal standpoint, just hearing a Bible chapter being the reasoning behind the number that you wear today. That's pretty special.
'Cause I was just wearing number one. I just thought it was kind of cool in high school. I was like, I mean, I'm number one, I guess. Then, Lee Cotton wore number one at Delta State. Was actually still one of my friends now. He was wearing number one, so I couldn't get it. So I was like, I mean, I could just pick a number, just put a jersey on me and go. Or I mean, this could really mean something to me going forward in my life.
Absolutely, for sure. Speaking of the number one, a number one moment for you happened not too long ago. We take you back to the time you guys were playing West Florida, and you want to talk about a moment that kind of encapsulates everything for you. You guys not only defeat the Argos 97-87, you snap a 9-game win streak for them. I mean, that's, special within itself because not a lot of teams do that. But for you, the bigger storyline, it wasn't necessarily about the game, but it was the number of points you scored and how special that was to the school of Montevallo. So 51 points. You set a few records in that game, including the number of made free throws and the percentage you've done as well. Take us through that experience, Derek, and just kind of what was going through your mind during that game.
I mean, firstly, it's all glory to God and credit to West Florida. I mean, they made it challenging. I mean, it wasn't just go out there and play the game and have fun. They really got after it. They really got after us, and it was a competitive game from the entire 40 minutes. But I mean, the game plan going in was let's play inside out. Let's play inside out. Let's see what they give us in the post first, and then we'll take our inside out threes. And then we kind of got rolling a little bit in the first half, and the points kind of started pouring in, and my mentality is let's play inside out. Like they're going to start doubling. They're going to start doubling. Let me find our shooters. Then there was not a double for a good portion of the game, so I kind of just took what the defense was giving me, and the points really started pouring in. And so, I mean, a lot of them at the line as well. But in my mind, for the whole 40 minutes, it's like let's play inside out. I'm waiting on the double so I can give it off to Brandon or Brian or Devin or somebody that's about to shoot this three. And then it was really a full 40 minutes of just taking what the defense was giving me, and credit to my teammates because they were finding me. They put me in great positions to score, and credit to Coach Kamara, who, I mean, he was pressing into him about getting the ball inside, get the ball inside, get the ball inside. And they believed and trusted in me and gave me the ball, and it just happened to be that kind of night.
Now, Derek, as we kind of bring everything together from your current time at Montevallo, obviously you still have several weeks left of the season, so we can't quite say that it's a whole encompassing deal. But through your current time at Montevallo, paired with your time at Delta State, I mean, it's two different GSC programs, it's two different styles essentially. Everybody has a certain tradition and style of play that they have set up. Being in those two different schools, what would you say makes the GSC such a grind night after night when it comes to the competition and just the experiences that you've had at both schools?
I mean, there's no competition in my eyes like the Gulf South. I mean, you're getting everybody's best shot every night. Everybody's prepared to play. I mean, there's just a sense of pride in every team, and you can kind of see it. Like no team really takes another one for granted because we all know what each other's capable of. And my freshman year, I will say, like there were some games where I was like, oh, like I'm looking at the standings, and I mean, we should have this one handled, but there's never a night like that in the GSC. It's a constant grind, and especially now where we are going into February, we've played every team once, so they have the film from the first game. So now it's who can prepare and who can adjust and who can be the better team as we roll into March and try to do special things.
Derek, one aspect I think that is starting to become overlooked a little bit more again is the mental health and the balance of just the challenges of being a student athlete and just what that does from a mental health side of things. How do you take care of your mental side now compared to how you approached it earlier in your time, your career, whether it was high school or your earlier days at Delta?
So that turning point for me happened my sophomore year. My freshman year, I had my brother. It was fine. I'd go talk to my brother if anything was happening. That was fine. So my sophomore year, like no discredit to my brother, he was still always there for me, but he got a girlfriend at that time, so I was seeing a little bit less of him. And my roommate at the time, who is one of my really good friends, Cole Thomas, he was at his girlfriend's house a lot. So I spent a lot of time just alone in my room, just reflecting. And so, I'd have a bad practice or I'd have a bad test or something would go wrong in my day. And so I'm by myself. So I'm kind of having to deal with these things on my own. So that took a bad toll on my mental health going into the end of my sophomore year, which is another reason that kind of drove me closer to home. And I can just remember sitting in my dorm room my sophomore year, and I just didn't have it figured out. I felt like I had no direction in my life. Felt like the future was just coming at me too fast, and everything was going to unfold in my life. And I just remember, I just remember calling my grandma and her just saying, just keep your eyes focused on on God. Like he has a bigger plan for you. Like everything will be okay. I just remember her continually saying everything will be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. And so at the time where it felt like my life was falling apart, I had people that have observed me my entire life, taking care of me, saying everything's gonna be okay. And the outlet for that is leaning on God. So from February till the end of my sophomore year academically, I really dove into the word, just trying to learn like why is everything going to be okay? Why lean on God? Like if everything's crumbling right now, what's he going to change? And then it all just kind of switched for me. Like my whole perspective switched to like he's going to do it. I may not see it right now, but if I have the correct faith and I stay in alignment with his will and his way, everything will work out for me. I mean, it kind of all came into fruition now, which, I'm 50 minutes away from my house. I can go see my mom whenever I want. My brother's 2 hours away. So I can make a weekend trip up there if I want. So God kind of just took the mental health aspect of it for me, where everything was crumbling apart my sophomore year. I mean, it just like nothing could have been worse my sophomore year for me mentally, into now where I feel like I'm not even at the peak of where I will be in my life, but this is the happiest I've been.
Absolutely. I have a feeling I know precisely what you mean when you're in that moment in life and just, sometimes you need that solitude to just reflect and to just, it's an opportunity to be in that wilderness, if you will, that isolation portion and just really get an opportunity to think about things. And it does definitely shape you to who you are and what you're looking forward to in the future, which, speaking of which, as you're looking at just through your time and just what you've experienced so far, what advice would you give to younger athletes that are dealing with similar adversity issues or just adversity in general?
First and foremost, I would say if you don't have a relationship with God, then like that you need to really press into one, and also surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Surround yourself with people that care about you and they truly care about you. They don't just want a performance on the basketball court. They want what's best for you in your life. And once you surround yourself with like-minded people who truly want what's best for you, you don't like it's not only you going on a path to greatness, it's you and four or five other people. And that just makes it even more special. So I'd say surround yourself with like-minded people. And if you don't have a relationship with God, like really press into that.
For sure. Well, Derek, before we let you get out of here, as promised, we have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. What would be your go-to pregame routine?
So we'll start it after shoot around. So after shoot around, you get a couple hours to go. We eat pregame at the calf. So, I'll probably go to the calf, get a little Powerade, and then me and a couple of guys will probably hit Jacks or something just to get some different food in us. And it's not always the best. I will say that we don't eat the best, but as long as it's fuel. So I'll say go get something to eat before, and you got to get a nap. Got to get a nap. Go to the gym, support our women's team, watch them play, and Peach Vibe Celsius and fruit snacks are the two go-tos. If I don't have a Peach Vibe Celsius or a fruit snack, then something's gonna have to happen. Something's gonna have to give. I have to get those two things before I put on that jersey.
For sure. In game, what's the better feeling? A big bucket or a big stop when you're in the paint?
Oh, that's tough. Probably I'd say a big stop, because we kind of pride ourselves on the defensive end, and we try to. I mean, so having a stop to where it's just demoralizing for the other team, like there's no better feeling than that.
Which one teammate would you say always brings the energy?
Oh my goodness, it's Reese Gerner. It's Reese Gerner, but he tore his ACL against Union, and we're kind of missing that right now. But he's doing so much for us. Just he's so smart, and just having his perspective on the game from the outside looking in, not being able to be on the court with us. He's done so much for us. But that energy he brought when he played, that it's infectious. I mean, it inspires everybody around.
Performance or progress? Which matters to you more now?
Progress. Oh my goodness, it's definitely progress. Performance would have been my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college, but that keeps you stagnant. I mean, that's not sustainable. You're not gonna score 51 points every night. You can't lean on that. You just have to slowly get better, do right things, and it all works out for you in the end if you choose progress.
And then last but certainly not least, Delta State or Montevallo? As the
Oh,
home team, which gym feels louder to you?
Montevallo. Nothing beats that. Nothing beats that quarterfinal game we played here last year. We played West Alabama. The students came out, family came out. That was one of the best gym environments I've been in.
Well, Derek, thank you again for joining us on Inside the GSC. We appreciate the time and effort that you've done to come here to join us. We appreciate you sharing your story with us, and we're looking forward to seeing some great things from you and continuing to have a stellar senior year. And we're looking for big things as we head towards playoff time as well.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the GSC. Don't forget to hit like, share, or subscribe wherever content can be found so you won't miss highlights, stories, and more. So long for now, and we'll see you back here next time on Inside the GSC.